The United States of America held a general election on November 8th of 2016 to make a number of state and federal political decisions. Foremost among these was the presidential election, which saw 304 votes for the Republican nominee and 227 votes for the Democratic nominee, making Donald John Trump president-elect and, after his inauguration on January 20th of 2017, the 45th president of the United States. This 5-part series will go over the results of the presidential, gubernatorial, Senate and House elections, explain some of the reasons why Trump won, briefly discuss the Electoral College and why some people are trying to change it, go through the ballot measures which passed and failed in the states, and finally look ahead at the next 4 years and some of the political challenges that President Trump will face. Results. On November 8th of 2016, 4 separate elections took place. The presidential election, where one person was chosen to represent all Americans as the leader of the executive branch of the federal government for the next 4 years. The gubernatorial elections, where 14 governors were chosen to lead the executive branches in their respective states for the next 2 to 4 years. The Senate elections, where 34 senators were chosen to represent their states in the federal government for the next 6 years. And the House elections, where all 435 representatives were chosen to represent their states in the federal government for the next 2 years. In the presidential election, 51 voting regions, the 50 states plus the Capital District, participated, all of which shall be referred to in this video as states. To decide on their president, the United States uses a 538-vote electoral college, where each state is assigned points in proportion to its population called electoral votes. Each of the 51 states then held its own election and gave their points to real people called electors, who then voted on December 19th for whichever candidate they preferred. 49 states attempt to compel through pledges all of their electors to vote for the candidate who won the popular vote in their state, and 2 states allocate electors based on congressional districts. But all electors have a constitutionally guaranteed right to vote for whomever they wish, though this is a rare occurrence, having happened only 82 times prior to this election. As a reminder, the 4 national candidates were Republican nominee Donald Trump, Libertarian nominee Gary Johnson, Green nominee Jill Stein, and Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton. And you can find out more about the policies each candidate ran on here. 17 states were considered very likely to vote Democratic, 22 states were considered very likely to vote Republican, and there were 12 swing states for which the outcome was uncertain. The result was that 4 swing states voted for the Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton, and 8 swing states, plus Maine's 1st Congressional District, voted for the Republican nominee Donald Trump, making him the winner by 37 electoral votes. 57% of the Electoral College is therefore pledged to Trump, 43% to Clinton, and 0% to third parties. Looking back at the popular vote over the last century, we can see that despite being pledged no electoral votes, third parties did comparatively well, receiving 8.2 million votes and reaching 6%, which is the highest for a decade. Gary Johnson received the majority of this support with 4.5 million votes, followed by Jill Stein with 1.5 million votes and write-in candidates with 1.1 million votes. We can also see that despite winning the Electoral College, Donald Trump lost the popular vote to Hillary Clinton by an unprecedented 2.9 million votes. Trump was therefore pledged 57% of the Electoral College from just 46% of the popular vote, and Clinton was pledged 43% of the Electoral College from a significantly larger 48% of the popular vote. On December 19th, the Electoral College voted, and the result was 304 for Trump, 227 for Clinton, 3 for Colin Powell, and 1 vote each for Bernie Sanders, Ron Paul, John Kasich, and Native American activist Faith Spotted Eagle. Such erratic outcomes and the large disparity between what people vote for and what they get have led to renewed criticism of the system and calls by some for reform. In the gubernatorial elections, 14 governorships were up for election in 12 states and 2 territories. North Carolina voted in a Democratic governor, and Missouri, New Hampshire, and Vermont voted in Republican governors, resulting in a net gain of 2 states for the Republicans. There are now 33 states under a Republican governor, 16 under a Democratic governor, and 1 under an independent governor. This may seem like a gain for the Republicans, and in some respects it is, but the number of people being governed by Democratic governors has in fact increased as a result of this election by about 2 million. In the territories, American Samoa re-elected their Democratic governor, and Puerto Rico had their popular Democratic Party governor retire and chose to elect a new Progressive Party governor instead. Excluding the Capital District and territories, Republicans now govern approximately 60% of the US population, and Democrats govern 40%. In the Senate, 34 of the 100 seats were up for election. The Republicans lost 2 seats to the Democrats, but retained 52% of the Senate with a narrow majority of 2 seats. In the House, all 435 seats were up for election. The Republicans lost 6 seats to the Democrats, but retained 55% of the House with a comfortable majority of 24 seats. So in summary, the Republican Party gained control of the presidency, increased their control of the states, and despite small gains made by the Democratic Party, retained control of both the Senate and the House. The Republican Party therefore have control over both the executive and legislative branches, and assuming the appointment of a right-wing Supreme Court justice in 2017, the Republican Party will control all three branches of the federal government. In Part 2, we'll take a look at why Trump won and discuss some of the factors that did and did not contribute to his victory. If you'd like to support upcoming content on this channel, please like this video, share it, or join these wonderful people in pledging $1 or more through Patreon. Thanks for watching.